Terrific. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this January 3rd, 2013 school board meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Emma, would you mind leading us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll continue by reading our mission statement. The Newmarket School District is committed to the highest standards of quality education. We ensure a safe and successful learning community. We embrace diversity and respond to the social, emotional, intellectual, and physical needs of every child. We strive to work with a broader community to ensure that students develop lifelong skills, enabling them to be contributing and productive members of society. Again, welcome. We don't have any recognitions this evening, so we'll move directly to public comments. If anyone is here to make a public comment, this would be the time that would be done. And seeing none, we'll go to minutes. Please.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the December 20th meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on those minutes?
I had one on page 5, the first sentence. I just think there's one too many accepts in there. Maybe it should say, would allow the school district to accept any unanticipated revenues instead of to accept and accept. Just driving that point home.
Really want to accept.
Okay.
And then the next paragraph, I don't know, it could just be the way that I'm reading it, but it's the one that talks about putting the tax impact on the warrant articles. And it says the town council has already voted to do so on their ballots, but the school board would need approval from the voters to do so in subsequent years. I read that meaning that the school board's going to do it in subsequent years, but the town council is going to do that now. And I don't think that's the case. Am I reading that incorrectly?
The town council has already made that decision, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they're, under the law, they're authorized to make that decision for the town.
Okay, all right, see, I didn't know that.
So the town on its warrant can put tax impact.
So the voters don't have to approve that,
For
right?
us,
Right.
the authorizing group are the voters, so they have to vote this March, and then next March is when we can do it.
All right.
So
glad
that is
I-
accurate.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's all I had.
All right, anyone else? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
And I'll make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes from December 20th.
I'll second that.
Discussion on those minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries as well. And as we've all noticed, but those at home, Meg is not with us this evening. She's excused, and we wish her well. See you soon, Meg. We'll then move to committee reports. Emma, what's new? Good
Well,
Christmas break?
As we all know,
Holiday break?
school started yesterday after our winter break. I'm sure we all love sleeping because I did. I actually took a nap today because I just couldn't get it through the day without sleeping. The boys varsity and junior varsity game will be tomorrow at Dairy Field. I believe it's I think it's 5:30. It starts for JV. High school finals are coming up at the end of the month. The high school yearbook, the $15 deposit is due on the 11th, and then you can pay for the rest of it when you get it in June, or you could pay for the full $45 now. You could order the book online at jostens.com, or you could write a check payable to Newmarket High School Yearbook and give it to Miss Spiller. And the high school girls track had a relay today at UNH. And
Great. Any questions for Emma? All right. Senior privileges get you those afternoon naps, or
yes, I have C block off, so I get to go home and take a nap and then go back to school.
set your alarm though, right?
Never been late yet, so.
All right. Dr. Hayes, you have highlights from your superintendent's report you want to point out?
I do have a few things. I placed on your desk this evening the NES News, which has a number of things in there that talk about what's going on in the schools, and so that's good reading for you. I'm not going to summarize it. There's so much there. From from the Mule Minutes that came out for this week's, a couple things that Emma didn't mention, so let me do that. One is that there's a snowshoe club that is starting at the junior senior high, and it starts on Monday, January 7th after school, so spaces are limited. Kids do need permission slips, but we provide the snowshoes, so that sounds like a lot of fun, especially there's plenty of snow out there. The drama club is going to meet on Thursday today, actually. They had their meeting at 2:45. They've begun working on their play, which is called Boeing Boeing. Not familiar with that one. I also was interested to see that there's a cooking class for students in grades 6 through 12 that runs on Thursday after school from 2:45 to 4.
Excellent.
So I think that's kind of a neat opportunity for kids, too, to get involved. And then lastly, we regularly run curriculum meetings, but coming up next week, there are several of them that are going to be used, working and training teachers in the use of some technology and how it relates to curriculum. So that's going to be happening next week. Let's see. In the written report that I'd given to you, I mentioned that we were waiting to hear back from DRA on the warrant articles that we'll talk about later. And we did hear back. So the warrant articles that Christine put at your desk tonight, those are the ones we'll be looking at. We actually also heard back from our attorney, so we're good to go with that, both of those. And so the one that's in your packet, we ignore that. And that's all that I have for superintendent's report.
Okay. Any questions regarding those things? Okay. Please continue then on facilities, if you would.
Couple things on facilities. At our December 20th meeting, you approved the preliminary application for school building aid, and that was submitted the very next day to the Department of Education. So we're plenty of time to meet their deadline. Be interested to see what, if any, reaction that brings from them. Oyster River. Couple things. I think I've already mentioned to you that the high school principal from Oyster River is invited, and he's coming to our very next meeting on January 17th. And I've given him a lot of ideas as what you might be interested in, so that he presents a really good overview of the school and its school program. And be an opportunity for you to ask him questions. So I think that'll be beneficial. Still have not scheduled a date for a meeting with their representatives. You may recall, Chuck, because I know you're on this team here, that we were going to be meeting, or hopefully going to be meeting on January 15th. That date is no longer a good date. And now we're exploring January 22nd, which I've said to them, we're good for January 22nd, and I just have not heard back from them yet. But I will follow up, but it's not the kind of turnaround that I would want to see, so. And that's all I have for facilities. The only other thing that I would mention, if I can, excuse me, but I mentioned that I invited Todd Allen to come on the 17th. I've also invited Bob Madej. He typically comes the meeting prior to the deliberative, and it's coming very fast. So I invited him to be here on the 17th, and he'll you know, he may have questions about our warrants or whatever. He's asked me to send him the warrant as soon as we're firmed up with it. So.
Any questions on those items? Okay. Terrific. So moving into programs, the first item is our school calendar that we've seen before as a draft, and I guess you're looking for approval at this point.
I am. Yes, there's no change here. I mean, worked with the administrative team, worked with the Teachers Association. I know it was made available to all of the teachers to provide any input that they had. It's been compared to the SST calendar, so we're a good fit with that as well. We've counted numerous times that we have the right number of days, and I'm confident we do. So yes, we're looking for your approval.
Okay. Well, with that,
I'm curious, so do you think, looking at the calendar, then that the graduation date would probably be the 6th? June 6th.
At this point, I would say that. Yeah, because that's within 10 days.
Weather
of
committee.
The last day of school.
He's
We
not
don't,
seeing it.
we don't really want to announce a date because,
Yeah, who knows?
you know, if you look at this
Any
today, you might
juniors in
say
the room?
yes.
Not so.
But we don't announce it till we know how
I
the year has
know,
gone.
I know. But you know what?
We can be optimistic.
There you go.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I'm sure they do. Well,
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the Newmarket School District Calendar 2013-2014 as presented.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
Okay.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Have it. And then on to our warrant. So this, set aside the copy I have in my packet
Yeah.
here.
okay.
So we should be looking at the
You put a new date on it.
draft January 3.
I was looking at the packet.
Yeah. You want the one that's dated 1/3. 2/13.
Hold myself for a second, I'm
All right, so we have some clarifying language, do we, from DRA in our council?
I think Christine and I will probably tag team going through this, but Article 1 is for the operating budget. The current budget is for $15,209,132, but we've drawn a line through that because we still need to meet with the Budget Committee. This is really their budget number to put in there. If that number holds true, well, no, not if that number holds true. You see a new number here compared to the last time you've seen this for the default budget. Christine has figured out the default budget, and I know she's going to talk about that, but you see the number $15,889,684. So, Christine, why don't you do that?
Sure. I had passed out a copy of the default budget. And what the default budget, just for those who don't know what it is, it's an operating budget that's authorized from the previous year. And if you looked on page 3, you'll see the prior year adopted budget is $15,209,132. And if you look in that warrant article that's crossed out there in Article 1, you'll see that it matches, so that you can see that that was what was adopted as the operating budget. And then what you do is you make any increases or decreases to the budget for either debt services or contracts or obligations, which the district is obligated to pay, are mandated by law, or you can reduce it by one-time expenditures, and that's how the default budget is created. So then you can see in the columns, in column number 4 there's your reduction in increases. And you'll see at the bottom that $14,222 under function 4600. That is the reduction because that is us purchasing the modular. So we actually have that comes off, which gives us the net of the $15,889,684 is our default budget.
I want to correct something that I said about Article 1.
Yeah,
The number 15,209,132, that's this year's number. It's not our new
right.
number.
Correct. We don't have that yet. We're
We don't
waiting
have
for-
that yet from the Budget Committee.
You don't happen to, off the top of your head, remember what the budget number we recommended? Or we,
What we recommended to the Budget Committee?
no.
I don't.
What you recommended versus what was approved?
Well, what we approved to present to the Budget Committee.
Oh, for
The
this
number
year?
that- Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
Unfortunately, sorry.
That's, no, that's okay, I just
I wanna say it was-
curious to
it's
see
fu-
how it compares to
To
the default.
Oh, it's lower than the default.
Yeah.
It will be, yeah.
Yeah. I want to say it's like 14,000,008.
But don't forget, we have to add in the food service
Yeah.
and then the other special revenue.
Okay.
The grants,
So it is going to
correct.
push it up over 15 million, but it's still going to be less. The default will be higher.
Okay.
Yeah,
No
let me
doubt
see if
about
I can.
usually.
This one
In
here.
these times, yeah.
That's
In
when you're
this
cutting
team,
staff.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But stay tuned because that's coming next Tuesday.
Right.
Okay, that will be, I mean, by the way the system works, it's the Budget Committee's number is what lands in Article 1.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And just before we move on, I do need, I'd like 2 copies of these signed, so if you want to pass around 1 copy, Linda.
Okay.
But I do need the school board to sign the default budget.
2
2
copies.
copies. Yeah, I just need 2 copies. I like to keep my own original,
Sure.
so, in case.
Okay, Article 2 is to raise and appropriate the sum of $706,907. This is to be added to the dual-purpose fund, construction of a new school building and renovation of existing school buildings for fire and life safety, code compliance. It's a long title. But in any case, this is year 3 of our 4-year fire and life safety plan. This is the amount that we plan to set aside, and so this has not changed since the times when you've seen that before. Obviously, that passed with DRA. Article 3 is no different than the last time you saw it. The amount of $50,000 for architectural and engineering fees associated with the construction of a new school, new junior, senior high. And then that would also be put into the expansion of school facilities capital reserve fund.
Seeing any questions from the group, so I guess,
Okay.
Are we, I didn't know if we were waiting until we went through.
No, you can ask as we go through, if you have any questions.
I was just curious if, for some reason, we didn't do Article 3 or say it doesn't pass, what was my initial question? Like, what's the worst-case scenario? What will happen if we can't do those designs?
Well, again, it was for,
If the kids go to Oyster River.
it was for two purposes. And one of them was if a tuition agreement works out with Oyster River, then it's planning for the
Middle
existing school. Is it a middle school? Is it a 5 through 8? And so helping us to start making some decisions around that. And then the other is to continue planning and assisting in any other applications that we have to do relative to school building aid and any presentations and things of that sort. So it was for dual purpose. If that doesn't happen, then I think there's still pressing needs for us. I mean, we'd have to try to find the money. We know we have money in the dual purpose fund. I'd hate to keep tapping that. I think we're setting that aside for when we're really going for a project. Okay?
Yeah.
okay.
Number 4, I'm going to have Christine weigh in on, because this is different language than you've seen before for the teacher contract, and she can maybe talk about the differences. I think it's appropriate here, though, to say that on Monday we did reach a tentative agreement with the teachers, which is terrific news. The ratification vote by the teachers will be on Monday. I'm sorry, I said Monday. It was Wednesday. Right, Wednesday we reached a tentative agreement. On Monday is when they'll, after school, hold their ratification vote. And then we've, hopefully, I believe we've contacted everyone that on Monday, and next Monday, January 7th, at 5:30, we'll have a meeting here in this room to do our own ratification, assuming that it's a positive vote from the teachers. And so we're taking that up at that time. The other thing that I put on the agenda for that meeting is final approval of the warrant. It was inappropriate to put any numbers here that associated with the contract, but if it's ratified by both groups, then we'll have numbers that we'll plug in, and then you get to look at the final warrant article number 4. Okay. You want to talk about the changes there, if you've got anything to add?
Yeah, there's just a slight change. What we removed from Article 4 is it was a sentence that said pursuant to RSA 273. it was repealed, so it's just no longer in effect, which just pretty much said that we would include the terms of collective bargaining, including the plan would be paid until excluding the cost of living expenses will continue in force until a new agreement is executed. That clause has been repealed, so we just removed that from the actual warrant article. And that was suggested by DRA. So that was the only clause that we had taken out. So.
Okay.
I don't believe the language in Article, any questions on that? Anything, what was that? Okay. I don't believe the language in Article 5 has changed at all. DRA didn't change that one, right?
No.
That's
Nope.
authorizes you to call a special meeting at your option, should the contract fail, and you can make a decision later as to whether you'd have a special meeting or not, to address, it says to address Article 5, it's to address Article 4, Christine, because we've renumbered now. You see that
Good catch.
in Article
No.
5?
I don't.
In Article 5, second line, to address
Oh, I
Article
see.
4, cost
Yep.
items
Nope,
only.
you're
That's
right.
the CBA.
Thank you.
It's
And the
in
first
both
sentence.
places.
It's in both. There's
Yep,
the second
yep,
sentence.
in both, right. Yep.
Nope, good catch. I didn't think I renumbered those.
I don't know.
I only
It
renumbered number
It may have been
11.
sitting there for a while, so who knows? Articles 6, 7, 8, and 9 are revised compared to what you'd seen before. At the last meeting in December, you decided to take any surplus and divide it equally in fourths, with 1/4 in Article 6 of whatever it is, up to $50,000 going to expansion of school facilities capital reserve fund. Article 7, again, up to 25% of the surplus and up to $50,000 for the purpose of purchasing technology. You had asked that. Article 8, dealing with the same concept, but now sending money for special education into that trust fund. And then Article 9, for the purpose of repairs and maintenance of school facilities. So whatever surplus, if we have any at all, would get divided up, assuming that these pass. Okay?
Are we all still comfortable with that? All right.
Article 10 was to establish a capital reserve fund for the unanticipated utility expenses. We had it worded a little bit differently the last time. Same purpose, but worded differently. And I know, Christine, you want to talk about that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. DRA, we had called it to meet the cost of energy, and DRA asked us if we could be a little bit more informative with the purpose. So we just changed that to read to meet the cost of unanticipated utility expenses instead. So it was a little bit just more information in the warrant article. So we just made that adjustment per DRA's recommendation.
Were they worried that maybe you'd be buying Red Bull or something?
I don't know, but yeah, I guess energy was too broad.
The board, but the long board meeting.
Sometimes we could use it, that's for sure.
Right. Okay, on that?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Article 11 is, I believe that language has not changed, right, Christine?
No, actually, this is where we took out, I believe.
I think it was the next one we took out, but in any case,
Well, this is where we
could
started
be.
renumbering.
right, we started renumbering.
Yeah, we actually removed Article 11, which used to be to accept RSA 31:95E, the provisions of accepting personal gifts.
Right.
If you want me to talk, I can talk. Hold on a second. I was gonna grab it. It's on the floor here, ripped up.
Yeah.
It was to accept personal gifts, and we were advised by the school attorneys that it wasn't really necessary for us to have to adopt this particular RSA because we do have
We were
the
enabled to.
authorization to.
Okay.
Yeah, we're enabled to. So that was the original Article 11. So we've removed that, and then we've moved all the other numbers up. So what is Article 11 now was 12, and so on and so forth. And there was no changes to the next warrant article.
Yeah, Article 11 then is now for, let's see, apply for, accept, and expend without further action by the school district unanticipated money from a state, federal, or other governmental unit or private source, which becomes available during the fiscal year.
Okay.
And that's an authorization indefinitely, which the law now allows. Okay?
We talked about that at
Right.
good length at the last
Right,
meeting.
we just have to do that once. Article 12 then is the language that is presented to the voters that would allow in a future warrants to put the tax impact information, as I explained earlier. So it says we'll vote that the district will vote to require that the annual budget and all special warrant articles having a tax impact shall contain a notation stating the estimated tax impact of the article. We had a previous wording. This is different wording, as I recall, from DRA.
That's correct. This is suggested language from DRA that we're using now.
Article 13 is, again, a non-binding referendum to assess the residents' support for entering into non-binding discussions with Oyster River Cooperative School District to consider jointly serving grades 9 through 12, and that then, if that were so, to provide a report to the community by February of 2014. Okay. And then Article 14 is that standard. Is there anything else? Any other business to attend to? So we will deal with this again on Monday night. Hopefully the only thing that's going to change on this, it really is going to be putting numbers in. After hopefully 2 successful votes on ratification, then we'll have a final.
We won't have the budget final until after the public hearing on the 14th.
Right,
So
right.
will we,
We're not,
how will we?
I think what we should do is put in the number that corresponds to our budget. And I know you were working on that today. We just didn't have it quite ready today, because I know she was doing the default. But we'll have that ready for Monday night. We'll at least have our number in there. When we go to public hearing, which is on the 14th, and then either that night or soon after that night, the Budget Committee will put its blessing on it or change it. And then somewhere between now and January 28th is when we have to have a final warrant signed and posted. Our next meeting is January 17th. So it would be great if the Budget Committee
Yeah.
could do its business so that we're ready and can deal with it on the 17th as opposed to coming back for another special meeting.
So do you anticipate our voting on Monday? Taking some kind of action on Monday on these, or do we?
It's kind of
or
a
are we really
preliminary
gonna wait?
vote. It's not a final vote, but it's preliminary endorsement that, yes, these are the warrant articles you want to continue, you want to pass forward to the public hearing.
Okay.
I mean, there's
Because
still
don't we
opportunity to
normally go
change.
by each one article as presented, and we have to, is that what you're thinking will happen on Monday? Because typically we have, I mean, in the past, we've
Right,
had to
we-
go through and
we
we have
would
to
go through
approve
each
each
one.
article individually.
I think we have.
Yeah.
So that's what you're
We
talking,
could do all but the budget, seeing how we won't have the budget number.
Yeah, because the Article 1 may change,
Yeah.
yeah.
so may do the others.
Okay.
Okay? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any correspondence at this point? We've had that newsletter you spoke of earlier.
Right, no, I don't have any other.
Okay. And business department update?
Yes, I do have one that I have to add. Fortunately, it's not good news. I did meet with our Director of Special Education today, and I would like just to put the board on notice that tomorrow I will be putting a freeze on the budget. We just got notification we're going to have 3 out-of-district placements. So we're looking at an unanticipated, these are unanticipated out-of-district placements at this point. Anticipated out-of-district placements that we're looking at over about $100,000.
Each or?
Total, no, in total. That would, yeah.
That's enough.
My face would be red if it
Always
was
big.
300,000,
Yeah.
but it's still, and having said that, and with the rise of fuel expenses that we're incurring, we're pretty much exhausting almost 200 gallons a day at that junior, senior high school. And our staff is doing the best that they can with monitoring the heat and whatnot, but with those two factors, that leaves us no room to maneuver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a freeze in the budget and hope to absorb as much of that out of district placement we can within the operating budget. So I just like to put you on notice.
So I got lost in these are anticipated?
Anticipated.
No,
Well,
they were on it, they weren't planned in the budget, let's put it
well,
that way.
they're anticipated now. They're
Now
coming
they're- now they're
in. They're
gonna
coming in.
They're confirmed.
I
No?
hate to say the word confirmed because until you actually receive them, to me, they're anticipated.
So
That's our lingo, if you will.
when we were budgeting,
We did
these
not.
were
We
not
did not know
anticipated.
about
Correct.
these people.
Okay.
Right, so at that point, they were unanticipated.
That's why I was like unanticipated,
why we-
anticipated.
We have to find a way, if we can, to absorb it within the operating budget, and that's why there's a freeze, you know, or you start
Or
relying on the special ed trust fund, and
Hmm.
that would be a significant depletion of that trust.
Are these new to the district completely, or they are,
they are.
so
All
they're not
three
like
are new.
within and going out?
No.
They're completely new, okay.
That is my understanding. There could be, I might be mistaken on one. We tried everything that we can do, and I believe one of them is in district, but it's going to the out, and the other two are completely brand new. I just found out about the third one about 2 hours before this meeting. So that's how new it is. But we ran some numbers, and the cost is anticipated to be about $100,000 over budget.
So
So
we can keep an eye on where we are with the operating budget, and, I mean, we will have the ability to tap into the
As we did
trust
last
fund.
year.
correct. But I just feel my obligation is to try to absorb as much as possible within the
Could
operating
you
budget.
maybe explain a little to people that are watching what you mean when you say you're gonna freeze the budget? Like, what are things that would normally happen that won't be able to happen now?
What it means is that typically I would freeze the budget and I'd be working with administrators and staff so that requests for purchases being made would have to be approved by either myself or Dr. Hayes. It's not to say that you can't make a purchase or anything like that. It's just that we need to approve it. It just needs to be a real necessity. There needs to be some support for the purchase. It's not, that we just want to create this project and I just want to buy this and I want to buy that because I have the funds and it's really drilling down to the necessities of what do we need to be successful for the school year, for supplies, for equipment, for anything. But it doesn't mean you can't have it. It doesn't mean you can't ask for it. It's just that we're really going to be looking over everything and making sure that it's a legitimate purchase that we must have at this time so that we can just better manage the budget. That's what it means.
Okay. Well, it is what that is, I suppose.
We're gonna do it.
No.
It's just for their information.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have no policies this evening? Or any resignations or other leave requests?
No,
I hate asking that question.
Mhm.
Nominations this evening?
none?
We have a manifest?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to accept the total of all manifests in the amount of $259,172.90.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Calendar items, not to be confused with the next year's.
Well, December's over.
Yeah, by the time I got this, and then when I opened it up, I saw it December.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
You get January and that's all.
I'm not ready to think about February
Yeah.
really that much yet.
It's coming fast.
Although February 2nd,
There you go.
we are anticipating that'll be the deliberative session
Right.
that day with the town council, piece.
Beginning at 9.
Beginning at
in the high
9,
school
thank you.
gym.
And then the school district piece beginning at 1
In the high school gym.
in the high school gym.
Right.
Come and plan to spend the day. Um,
Any news on daycare for that?
Well, I've talked to the principal. I know he's talking to people at the school. I'm not sure he's finalized any plans, but not yet. I think it'll be there.
Okay.
Okay, so, again, we are meeting at 5:30 here on Monday, the 7th,
Yes.
to vote on the teacher's contract piece, as well as move forward with the warrant. And then at 6:30, I believe, is a budget committee meeting
Yes. Regarding the town warrant.
Yep.
regarding the town.
And then on
Okay.
Tuesday, the 8th, at 6:30, it's regarding the school district warrant with the budget committee.
Okay. And then our next meeting is on the 17th. However, the public hearing is on Monday, the 14th at 7 PM. And that's for both the town and the school budget committee's review
Right.
of
You
those
said that was in the
pieces.
auditorium?
And that's here in the auditorium.
Mhm.
The public hearing is in the auditorium.
And, all right. Project graduation bingo is on Saturday the 12th at 11:30 at the high school cafeteria. I'm gonna bet that the project graduation calendars for February will be available soon, if not already. Any other items of note regarding the January calendar? All right. And we've had a short agenda thus far this evening to allow for a significant discussion in non-public, both under RSA 91A:3, Roman numeral 2, paragraph A, dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, as well as the same reference, but paragraph I, matters relating to the preparation for and the carrying out of emergency functions, which is a topic that is most appropriately not handled in a public setting for obvious reasons. So, with that in mind, I would entertain a motion to go into non-public.
So moved.
I'll second.
When you're ready, Jim, to call the
Yeah.
roll.
Cliff Chase.
Aye.
Kelly Foster.
Aye.
Jet Jablonski.
Aye.
Linda Montagani.
Aye.
At 7:40.
Some kind of